Why do some people instantly gain trust, respect, and influence while others struggle? The answer isn't money, intelligence, or talent. It's hidden in one book that has changed millions of lives. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie Part 1. Fundamental Techniques in Handling People. Introduction to Part 1. Imagine you have excellent knowledge, a good degree, and strong skills, but every time you criticize people, argue with them, or make them feel unimportant, your relationships become weaker. Dale Carnegie discovered something surprising. Most people don't want criticism. Most people want understanding, appreciation, and respect. Part 1 teaches the foundation of human relationships. It contains only 3 chapters, but Carnegie believed these 3 principles could transform a person's entire life. Chapter 1. If you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. Main idea. Criticism rarely changes people. Instead, it makes them defend themselves and justify their actions. Storytelling. Carnegie begins with the story of a famous criminal known as Two-Gun Crowley. Crowley was surrounded by police after committing serious crimes. While hiding from the police, he wrote a letter saying something like, "Under my coat is a kind and loving heart." This sounds strange. He was a criminal, yet he still believed he was a good person. Why? Because most people never see themselves as villains. Even when they are wrong, they usually find reasons to justify their behavior. Carnegie realized something important. If even dangerous criminals think they are right, how likely is it that ordinary people will accept criticism? Very unlikely. Another story. Carnegie tells stories about famous gangsters and criminals who always blamed others. They blamed circumstances. They blamed bad luck, but almost none blamed themselves. This shows a basic truth about human psychology. People naturally protect their self-image. Why criticism fails? Imagine your friend arrives late. You say, "You're always irresponsible." What happens? The friend immediately starts defending themselves. "Traffic was bad. I had work. Something happened." Instead of solving the problem, you created resistance. Real-life example. Wrong way manager. Your report is terrible. Employee immediately feels angry and embarrassed. Result: less motivation. Better way manager. I know you've worked hard on this report. Let's see how we can make it even stronger. Employee feels respected. Result: more willingness to improve. How to apply this? Before criticizing someone, ask yourself, why did they act this way? What pressures were they facing? What can I learn before judging? Powerful quote from the chapter. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. This became one of Carnegie's most famous principles. They learn more from understanding. Chapter 2. The Big Secret of Dealing with People. Main idea. Every person has a deep desire to feel important. This desire is one of the strongest forces in human behavior. Storytelling. Imagine 2 employees. Employee works hard every day. The boss never notices, never says thank you, never gives appreciation. After some time, employee loses motivation. Now imagine another employee. The boss says, "I appreciate your effort. You did an excellent job." The employee becomes more enthusiastic and productive. Why? Because appreciation satisfies a basic human need. Carnegie's discovery science is called Common. Carnegie's discovery science is called Common. The best leaders weren't always the smartest. They were often the people who made others feel valued. Story of Charles Schwab. One of the most successful business leaders of his time was Charles M. Schwab. People asked him, "Why are you paid so much?" Schwab explained that one of his greatest skills was encouraging people through appreciation. Instead of constantly pointing out mistakes, he focused on recognizing good work. As a result, employees worked harder. Appreciation versus flattery. Carnegie makes an important distinction. Appreciation, genuine, honest, specific. Example: you explained that project very clearly. Flattery: fake, manipulative, insincere. Example: you're the greatest person ever. People usually recognize fake praise. Real-life example: imagine your mother cooks dinner. Common response: okay. No appreciation. Better response: thank you for preparing this meal. I know it took effort. Now she feels respected and valued. How to apply this? Every day, find one person and sincerely appreciate something they did. Not fake praise. Real appreciation. Why this works? People crave recognition. Money matters. Success matters. But everyone wants to feel important. Lesson from Chapter 2. Honest appreciation is one of the most powerful gifts you can give another person. Chapter 3. He who can do this has the whole world with him. Main idea. To influence people, talk about what they want, not about what you want. Storytelling. Imagine a fisherman. When fishing, he uses worms. He likes strawberries, but he doesn't put strawberries on the hook. Why? Because fish want worms. This simple example illustrates a powerful principle. People often talk about what they want, what they need, what they like. But influence begins when you focus on what others want. Example: a child who won't study. Many parents say, "Study because I said so." The child feels forced. Now imagine another approach. Parent: if you study, you'll get closer to becoming the engineer you've always wanted to be. Now the conversation connects with the child's dream. The motivation becomes stronger. Example: selling a product. Bad salesperson: I need you to buy this. Customer doesn't care. Good salesperson: this product can save you time and help solve your problem. Now the customer sees personal benefit. Carnegie's core principle. Every action people take is driven by desire. People act because they want something. If you understand that desire, influence becomes easier. How to apply this? Before asking for anything, ask, why would this person want to do this? Think from their perspective. Real-life example. Suppose you want your friend to help you move. Weak request: help me move because I need help. Strong request: I'd really appreciate your help. Afterward, we'll have dinner together, and I'll help you whenever you need support. Now there is mutual benefit. Lesson from Chapter 3. The secret of influence is understanding what motivates other people. Part 1 Final Summary. These 3 chapters create the foundation for the entire book. Rule 1. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Rule 2. Give honest and sincere appreciation. Rule 3. Appeal to the interests and desires of others. Biggest lesson from Part 1. Most people try to change others through criticism and pressure. Carnegie teaches the opposite. Understand people, appreciate people, focus on their needs. When you do that, relationships become stronger, influence increases, and communication becomes much easier. How to win friends and influence people. Part 2. 6 ways to make people like you. Introduction to Part 2. Imagine entering a room full of strangers. Some people immediately attract others. People smile at them, want to talk with them, trust them. Why? Is it because they are the richest, the most handsome, the smartest? Not necessarily. Dale Carnegie discovered that people who are liked usually follow a few simple principles. Part 2 teaches 6 powerful habits that make people naturally enjoy being around you. A meaningful story. Before we begin. The lonely old man. There was an old man who lived alone after his wife died. He had very few visitors. His children lived far away. Many days passed without anyone talking to him. One afternoon, a young neighbor noticed him sitting alone outside his house. The young man stopped and said, "Good afternoon. How are you today?" The old man smiled. The young man sat with him for 20 minutes and listened to his stories. He didn't give advice. He didn't talk about himself. He simply listened. The next day he visited again. Then again. Months later the old man said, "You changed my life. Most people only hear my words. You listened to my heart." What made the difference? Not money. Not gifts. Not power. Just genuine interest. That simple story captures the entire message of Part 2. People want to feel seen, heard, and valued. Chapter 4. Do this and you'll be welcome anywhere. Main idea. Become genuinely interested in other people. Storytelling. Many people like me. Carnegie says that's the wrong question. Instead ask, how can I become interested in them? People naturally like those who show genuine curiosity about their lives. Example. Imagine 2 students. Student A talks only about himself, his grades, his hobbies, his achievements. People quickly lose interest. Student B asks, what do you study? What are your goals? What do you enjoy doing? People enjoy talking to him. Why? Because he makes them feel important. How to use it when meeting someone. Ask questions. Listen carefully. Remember details. Lesson from Chapter 4. The fastest way to make friends is to become genuinely interested in others. Chapter 5. A simple way to make a good first impression. Main idea. Smile. Storytelling. Imagine entering a store. One employee looks bored. Another smiles warmly. Who would you rather speak to? Most people choose the smiling person instantly. A smile communicates welcome, warmth, friendliness, confidence, without saying a single word. Example: a student enters university on the first day. He smiles at classmates and greets them. Within weeks, he knows many people. Another student avoids eye contact. Months later, he still feels isolated. How to use it. Smile when greeting people. Smile during conversations. Smile on video calls. Lesson from Chapter 5. Your smile is often your most powerful introduction. Chapter 6. If you don't do this, you are headed for trouble. Main idea. Remember people's names. Storytelling. Carnegie teaches that a person's name is one of the sweetest sounds they can hear. People may forget what you said, but they remember how you made them feel. Using their name makes them feel recognized. Example. Imagine meeting a professor. A month later you say, "Good morning, Professor Ahmed." He immediately feels respected. Now imagine saying, "Hey, sir." The connection becomes weaker. How to use it? When meeting someone? Repeat their name. Use it naturally. Associate it with something memorable. Lesson from Chapter 6. Remembering names shows respect and attention. Chapter 7. An easy way to become a good conversationalist. Main idea. Become a good listener. Storytelling. Most people think being interesting means talking a lot. Carnegie discovered the opposite. People usually enjoy conversations where they get to speak. Example. A man attends a party. He asks thoughtful questions and listens carefully. At the end of the evening, someone says, "You're one of the most interesting people I've met." Ironically, he hardly talked about himself. How to use it? Ask, "What do you enjoy doing? How did you get started? What was that experience like?" Then listen. Lesson from Chapter 7. People love those who truly listen. Chapter 8. How to interest people. Main idea. Talk about what interests them. People become engaged when conversations connect with their interests. Example. Suppose your friend loves photography. Instead of talking only about yourself, ask, "What camera do you use? How did you learn photography?" Suddenly the conversation becomes energetic. How to use it? Discover their hobbies, their goals, their passions, then build conversations around them. Lesson from Chapter 8. Speak to people's interests if you want their attention. Chapter 9. How to make people like you instantly. Main idea. Make people feel important, and do it sincerely. Storytelling. Every person is fighting unseen battles. Every person wants respect. Every person wants significance. The people we remember most are often those who made us feel valued. Example. Imagine a janitor working in a company. Most employees ignore him. One manager greets him daily and thanks him for his work. Years later, the janitor remembers that manager. Why? Because he felt respected. How to use it? Thank people. Notice effort. Respect everyone regardless of status. Lesson from Chapter 9. Treat everyone as important because everyone wants to feel important. Part 2. Final summary. The 6 principles. 1. Become genuinely interested in others. 2. Smile. 3. Remember names. 4. Be a good listener. 5. Talk about what interests others. 6. Make people feel important sincerely. How to win friends and influence people. Part 3. How to win people to your way of thinking. Introduction to Part 3. Imagine arguing with someone for an hour. You present facts. You explain logic. You prove your point. Finally, the other person says, "Fine, you're right." But deep inside, they still disagree. Did you really win? Dale Carnegie says, "No. This part contains principles that help you persuade others without creating enemies." Chapter 10. You can't win an argument. Main idea. Nobody truly wins an argument. Storytelling. Imagine 2 friends arguing about politics. Both become emotional. Both try to prove they are right. After 1 hour, nobody changes their mind. Both are frustrated. Relationship damaged. Carnegie explains, even if you prove someone wrong, you often hurt their pride, and hurt pride creates resistance. Example. Instead of saying "you're wrong," try, "That's an interesting perspective. Let's look at another possibility." Lesson. The best way to win an argument is often to avoid it. Chapter 11. A sure way of making enemies. Main idea. Never tell people directly that they are wrong. Storytelling. Imagine telling a colleague, "You're completely wrong." Instantly, their mind stops listening. Their goal changes. Now they want to defend themselves. Better approach, say, "I may be mistaken, but let's examine the facts together." This protects their dignity. Example. Wrong. Your idea won't work. Better, let's explore some challenges this idea might face. Lesson. Respect people's opinions, even when you disagree. Chapter 12. If you're wrong, admit it quickly. Main idea. Admitting mistakes creates respect. Storytelling. Many people spend enormous energy defending mistakes. Carnegie teaches the opposite. When you are wrong, admit it quickly. People are often shocked by honesty. Example. Imagine arriving late for a meeting. Wrong response. Traffic was terrible. The alarm failed. Better response. You're right. I should have planned better. Sorry. Most people immediately become more understanding. Lesson. Honest admission of mistakes strengthens trust. Chapter 13. A drop of honey. Main idea. Kindness is stronger than aggression. Storytelling. Imagine a customer angry about poor service. Employee A responds aggressively. The argument grows. Employee B responds calmly. The customer gradually relaxes. Who succeeds? The kind person. Example. Instead of, calm down, say, I understand why you're upset. Lesson. A gentle approach influences people more than force. Chapter 14. The Secret of Socrates. Main idea. Get people saying yes. Storytelling. The Greek philosopher Socrates often asked questions that led people toward agreement. Instead of confronting people directly, he guided them step by step. Example. Suppose you want your friend to exercise. Ask, do you want better health? Do you want more energy? They answer, yes. Now your suggestion feels natural. Lesson. Small agreements often lead to larger agreements. Chapter 15. The Safety Valve in Handling Complaints. Main idea. Let people talk. Storytelling imagines someone upset after a difficult day. They don't necessarily want solutions. They want to be heard. When people express emotions, tension decreases. Example. Instead of interrupting, listen completely. Allow them to finish. Only then respond. Lesson. Listening often solves problems better than talking. Chapter 16. How to get cooperation. Main idea. See things from the other person's viewpoint. Storytelling. A manager wanted employees to follow a new policy. At first he explained only company benefits. Nobody cared. Then he explained how it would help employees. Suddenly support increased. Why? Because people care most about their own concerns. Example. Ask yourself, if I were them, how would I feel? Lesson. Understanding perspectives creates cooperation. Chapter 17. A formula that will work wonders. Main idea. Develop empathy. Storytelling. Imagine a teenager making poor decisions. Many parents respond with anger, but empathy asks, what pressure is this child experiencing? That question changes everything. Example. Instead of what's wrong with you? Chapter 18. What everybody wants. Main idea. People want sympathy and understanding. Storytelling. When people suffer disappointment, failure, or sadness, they often want someone who understands, not someone who judges. Example. Instead of saying, it's not a big deal, say, that must have been difficult. Lesson. Understanding creates emotional connection. Chapter 19. An appeal that everybody likes. Main idea. Appeal to people's better nature. Storytelling. Most people want to see themselves as honest, responsible, and good. When you appeal to these qualities, cooperation becomes easier. Example. Instead of saying, return the money, say, I know you're the type of person who does the right thing. Lesson. People often live up to positive expectations. Chapter 21. When nothing else works. DV does it. Why don't you do it? Main idea. Dramatize your ideas. Storytelling facts are forgotten. Stories are remembered. People respond emotionally to vivid examples. Example. Instead of saying, we waste paper, show a pile of wasted paper. Now everyone notices. Lesson. Make your ideas memorable. Chapter 21. When nothing else works, try this. Main idea. Use positive challenges. Storytelling. Athletes train harder when challenged. Students work harder when inspired. Employees improve when trusted with responsibility. Example. A teacher says, I believe you're capable of doing something exceptional. Students often rise to the challenge. Lesson. Positive challenges inspire growth. Part 3. Final summary. The 12 principles. Avoid arguments. Respect opinions. Admit mistakes quickly. Use friendliness. Begin with agreement. Let others talk. See their viewpoint. Show empathy. Give sympathy. Appeal to noble motives. Dramatize ideas. Use positive challenges. How to win friends and influence people. Part 4. Be a leader. How to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment. A story that explains the entire part. The two gardeners. Two gardeners were given identical gardens. The first gardener shouted at his plants every day, "Grow faster! Why aren't you better?" Of course, nothing changed. The second gardener watered them, protected them, gave them sunlight, encouraged healthy growth. Months later, his garden flourished. People are similar. Most people don't improve through criticism. They improve through encouragement. This is the heart of Part 4. Introduction to Part 4. Imagine you become a manager, a teacher, a parent, a team leader, a business owner. Sooner or later, you will face a difficult situation. Someone makes a mistake. How do you correct them without hurting their feelings? How do you help people improve without making them angry? Most people think leadership means giving orders. A story that explains the entire part. The two gardeners were given identical gardens. The first gardener shouted at his plants every day, "Grow faster! Why aren't you better?" Of course, nothing changed. The second gardener watered them, protected them, gave them sunlight, encouraged healthy growth. Months later, his garden flourished. People are similar. Most people don't improve through criticism. They improve through encouragement. This is the heart of Part 4. Chapter 22. If you must find fault, this is the way to begin. Main idea. Begin with praise and honest appreciation. Storytelling. Imagine your employee made a mistake. Most managers say, "You did this wrong." Immediately the employee becomes nervous. Now imagine, "You've done excellent work recently. There's just one area I'd like us to improve." The message feels completely different. Example. Parent. Wrong. "Your room is a mess." Better. "I appreciate how responsible you've been lately. Let's work on keeping the room organized too." Lesson. Praise opens the door to correction. Storytelling. Nobody enjoys being embarrassed. Direct criticism often creates resistance. Indirect suggestions allow people to save face. Example. Wrong. "You made several mistakes." Better. "Perhaps we could double-check a few details." The second approach feels cooperative rather than attacking. Real-life example. A teacher notices spelling mistakes. Instead of saying, "Your writing is full of errors," she says, "This is a strong essay. Let's polish a few spelling details." The student stays motivated. Lesson. Gentle correction works better than harsh criticism. Chapter 24. Talk about your own mistakes. First main idea. Admit your mistakes before discussing someone else's. Storytelling. Imagine a senior manager speaking to a new employee. Instead of saying, "You're doing everything wrong," he says, "When I started, I made similar mistakes." Now the employee feels understood. Example. Parent. "When I was your age, I also struggled with managing time." This creates connection. Why it works. People accept advice more easily from someone who is humble. Lesson. Humility makes correction easier to accept. Chapter 25. No one likes to take orders. Main idea. Ask questions instead of giving commands. Storytelling. Most people dislike being controlled, even when the order is reasonable. Questions create cooperation. Orders create resistance. Example. Instead of, "Finish this report now," ask, "Do you think we can finish this report today?" Family. Example. Instead of, "Clean your room," ask, "What do you think is the best way to organize your room?" Lesson. Questions inspire ownership. Chapter 26. Let the other person save face. Main idea. Never humiliate people. Storytelling. Imagine a worker makes a mistake in front of the whole team. The manager publicly criticizes him. The worker feels embarrassed. Even if he improves, he may never forget the humiliation. A wise leader protects dignity. Example. Wrong. Criticizing an employee in front of everyone. Better. Speaking privately why it matters. People can recover from mistakes, but humiliation often leaves scars. Lesson. Protect dignity whenever possible. Chapter 27. How to spur people on to success. Main idea. Praise every improvement. Storytelling. Imagine a child learning to ride a bicycle. If you only mention mistakes, the child loses confidence. If you praise progress, the child keeps trying. Example. Teacher. Your last test score improved by 10 points. Great progress. Now the student feels motivated. Lesson. Recognition fuels improvement. Chapter 28. Give a dog a good name. Main idea. Give people a positive reputation to live up to. Storytelling. People often become what others expect them to be. If you constantly tell someone, "You're lazy," eventually they may believe it. But if you say, "You're reliable," they often try to prove you right. Example. Manager. You are one of the most dependable people on this team. The employee now wants to maintain that image. Lesson. Positive expectations encourage positive behavior. Chapter 29. Make the fault seem easy to correct. Main idea. Build confidence. Storytelling. Imagine learning a difficult skill. Someone says, "This is impossible." Motivation disappears. Now imagine someone says, "This will take practice, but I know you can do it." Suddenly the challenge feels manageable. Example. Teacher. Your math needs work, but you're improving quickly. Student becomes encouraged. Lesson. People improve faster when they believe improvement is possible. Chapter 30. Making people glad to do what you want. Main idea. Create enthusiasm. Storytelling. The best leaders don't force people, they inspire them. People work harder when they understand the benefit and feel excited about the goal. Example. Wrong. You must stay late and finish this project. Better. If we complete this project today, the whole team benefits and we can reach our target sooner. Why it works. People support goals they believe in. Lesson. Inspire cooperation instead of demanding obedience. Part 4. Final summary. The 9 leadership principles. 1. Begin with praise. 2. Point out mistakes indirectly. 3. Talk about your own mistakes first. 4. Ask questions instead of giving orders. 5. Let people save face. 6. Praise improvement. 7. Give people a good reputation. 8. Make mistakes seem easy to fix. 9. Make people happy to cooperate.